Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan, and thank you very much for joining us for our Wednesday weather update for May the 17th. All eyes are out on the Tasman Sea because we have this rapidly deepening low pressure zone. We've been talking about it for a week now. Big strong southerly on the left-hand side of it, northerly on the right-hand side of it, the perfect setup for that low to spin, get deeper and get larger over the next 48 hours. It peaks on Friday, just off the west coast of New Zealand, and then it moves in on Saturday and falls apart. So it does bring some severe weather risks to New Zealand, but as you're going to see, it's a bit broken up and patchy as it starts to move on through. The main theme for Australia, that southerly flow all the way up into the tropics, going around a big area of high pressure that's rolling in behind it all. So let's take a look at rainfall to begin with. This is for the next 24 hours from 7 o'clock this morning, Wednesday. Most of the rain down here on the west coast, and you're talking about 50, 60 millimetres in that zone there. That's the heaviest rain, only 5-10 millimetres over here on the eastern side, and basically nothing at all for the North Island, maybe just an isolated shower. As we go through to Thursday, the 24-hour map from 7 o'clock on Thursday morning through till 7 o'clock Friday morning shows the heavier rain up here around the eastern side of Northland, Coromandel Peninsula area and Western Bay of Plenty. The totals aren't huge, 20 to 30 millimetres at this stage. That might still change though, so please do keep up to date with the latest Met Service warnings and watches. Now just briefly look at this, don't get too lost in all the numbers, but we'll start with the top maps. The area you see in dark blue shading, this area here in the southeastern corner, below 5 degrees tonight, and tomorrow night that extends further up into parts of inland Queensland. So a cold night coming up, -2 it'll be in Canberra tomorrow night as that southerly sets in with high pressure behind it. Now these maps for New Zealand are daytime temperatures, the maximum departure from normal, and what you're seeing is a lot of yellow showing up around both islands, and that's a sign of it being either average or just slightly above average. So in other words, we've got some warmer weather coming back into New Zealand. Not that it's been overly cold, but we have seen a couple of frosts around. Haven't had many of them so far this year, but we have seen a few this week. So here's how we are at lunchtime Thursday, New Zealand time. The northerlies are subtropical, so warm, but it'll be getting cloudier ahead of that rain. The rain comes in later into the day, and for those further south, it comes in at night time or even not until Friday morning. And then there's a secondary area of rain down here on the west coast, which we'll see a few showers bubbling up into Southland and Otago. And the southerly change carries on around Australia as we go through Thursday and into Friday. Can't see Australia on Friday though, because all eyes are on New Zealand. It's quite an impressive looking storm with gale force winds all the way around the centre, air pressure down into the 970s. But the worst of the weather at lunchtime, if this modelling is correct, the worst of the weather is from about where I'm pointing into the centre, that area there. So most of that is out at sea by lunchtime, but as we go through Friday afternoon and evening and into Saturday, that's when this moves in and it then starts to fall apart. And behind it, plenty of windy weather. So let's jump to Saturday, because as it moves in, so it's likely to come in around Cook Strait, maybe Wanganui, Taranaki, Manawatu, that area. To the north, in comes the windy westerlies, and they could be gusting to gale force in places like Bay of Plenty, Coromandel Peninsula and Auckland, which is quite a wind tunnel for the west to southwest change. It becomes a little cooler down here in the south. Southeasterlies for you in Dunedin, southwesterlies over there for Melbourne. So heavy rain just in the middle part, but further to the north, long dry spells. Take a look at rural weather, the latest rainfall totals, not too bad considering this system's coming through. And then we get to Sunday and it's gone, it's out here, it's south of the Chatham Islands, and now we've got a more traditional autumn west to southwesterly blowing across the country. Showers, cooler, windy. Similar story in the southeastern corner of Australia. We all share that same weather pattern on Sunday. The next big high coming in around Western Australia, and as we kick off next week, Australia is pretty settled underneath this high pressure zone. New Zealand is not. Very windy between that high and that low. Big, strong gale force southwesterlies blowing across the country. Classic autumn weather. We haven't had a lot of this sort of classic stuff. This is coming through. Temperatures will be down across New Zealand, but they won't be too bad. It won't be, freezing, put it that way, in many places, because it's not a true southerly, it's more of a southwesterly. So plenty of weather to talk about over the coming days. I'll be back again tomorrow with the next update. We'll see you then.